Family is Providence. Thanks for tuning in. And Judgment Day, at least in this life, for Diddy, is upon him. He's getting sentenced on October 3rd for violating the Mann Act. He got found guilty of 2 counts of prostitution, hiring prostitutes and having them cross state lines. And now he has to face his reckoning. And obviously, whenever you're facing charges, we do this thing where we write a bunch of letters to the judge in hopes that the letters sway the opinion of the judge. Now, personally, I always think, man, does that work? I mean, obviously, it doesn't hurt. But how many judges actually read these letters and go, oh, wow, he did this nice things for you? Okay, that totally means that the crime that he did doesn't matter. Oh, he means this to you and he helps you with this? Okay, but he also did XYZ to this person. And so I'm sure there are going to be counter letters that are written saying how terrible of a person Diddy is and reminding the judge of all the horrible things that Diddy did. And so at the end of the day, obviously you do your best to try. If you're pro Diddy, you do your best to try to convince the judge to go be lenient on him. And if you hate Diddy and you want him to get the maximum years, you write a letter trying to make him seem like he's Satan. Now, Carisha, otherwise known as Young Miami, has written a letter trying to obviously help Diddy in his situation, standing up for her bae that she loves. She says, "Dear Your Honor, my name is Carisha Brownlee. I'm a mother, daughter, sister, and a hip hop artist who has spent many years in the public eye. I want to be clear that I cannot speak on or defend anything that may have happened before I met Sean Combs." See, the problem is that's exactly what this entire trial is about. See, I don't understand why you would say that in a letter, because if I'm the judge and I'm reading the letter, I'm going, well, if you can't speak on that, if you don't want to try to talk to that, then why are we here? Because I'm not here to talk about the last 4 years of Diddy's life where he may have tried to make some improvements. I mean, that's cool, I guess, but we're talking about actions that took place at the beginning of dating Cassie, and certain things that happened relatively recently, in the case of Jane Doe. But yeah, you really shouldn't say, hey, I got no opinion on what happened beforehand, because if I'm the judge, I'm like, well, why are you here? Because we're here to talk about potential crimes that did happen beforehand. So anyway, she continues, "I do not condone any wrongdoing." That's good. "I can only speak from my personal experience and the man I've come to know over the past 4 years." Again, trying to personalize it so much doesn't help Diddy, because if you're the judge, you're going, cool, you had a good experience with him, but Cassie didn't. Jane Doe didn't, right? All the other people they got to testify didn't, right? Now, whether or not that's true or they lied when they testified, who knows? But they certainly are not articulating that they had a great experience with him. So it's not very helpful to say, look, I can only speak to what happened with me. I don't think that's an effective argument. For 3 of those years, I was in a public relationship with Sean. And during that time, I witnessed and came to know a different person than the one often portrayed. Behind the scenes, he was loving, genuine, supportive, and always encouraging. He motivated me, believed in me, and helped me grow, both personally and professionally. To be fair, I believe that about Diddy. I think Diddy can be very motivational. And I think that he has used a lot of his resources to help put other people on, I'm sure. Now, there are people who would testify that he treated them poorly when they were under him. Many artists have come forward and said that were on Bad Boy, that have said that Diddy treated them terribly. So again, it's a case by case moment, right? Individual to individual. I'm writing this letter because I believe it's important for the court to know the side of Sean that isn't always seen or spoken about. The man who poured into others, who gave opportunities, who led by example, and who loved deeply. He helped shape me both professionally and personally, believed in me, pushed me to grow, taught me how to be a better businesswoman. He helped me find balance between chasing my dreams and being present for my family, because that's what he did. No matter how busy he was, he never missed holidays or special moments with his family. one of my most meaningful memories was when he took me to the Met Gala. I really wish you wouldn't have mentioned that. I mean, if you want to, I don't know how the judge is going to take this personally, but me personally, if I'm a judge and I'm looking for justice on behalf of victims, I don't want to hear about how Diddy took you to an event that like crystallizes wealth and status in society, like the Met Gala. It's like, oh yeah, Diddy's a great guy. We went to this super exclusive elite event where everyone overdresses and seems so entirely out of touch with society. I mean, you're trying to get Diddy less time after he's victimized and taken advantage of people who aren't on his level. Like, I don't understand. You know, it just looks very vain and pompous, and it kind of makes this letter feel like, oh, well, Diddy did a bunch of great things for me. He helped me with my businesses and motivated me, and we were in a relationship and romantic, and it was great. And he took me to the Met Gala, and if I'm the judge, I'm like, word. So him taking you to the Met Gala, what I'm finna do with that? Like, does that absolve these prostitution charges? Does that help me erase the video of him beating on Cassie, even though technically I'm not supposed to be considering that in the judgment, in the sentencing, but we all know that the judge will be considering that. I don't think that helps. As a matter of fact, I think that hurts. What you really want to do is make Diddy feel like he's a common person. Don't talk about his money and all of that. Now, talking about his resources as it relates to genuinely helping other people, cool. But talking about his resources as it relates to going to some super exclusive party with rich people overdressing like the Met Gala, I don't think that helps put Diddy in the light that you want to put him in. Again, maybe the judge doesn't reason like me. Maybe he doesn't think like me, and it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, I think that you should have found another example in your 4-year relationship besides going to the Met Gala. But she's going to continue. She's going to say, it wasn't just about the event. It was about what it represented. Sean always made it a priority to open doors for Black people, to make sure we are seen, heard, and valued in spaces where we've historically been excluded. I feel like you could have made that point without mentioning the Met Gala, though. That's my personal opinion. That night reminded me that we belong in every room, at every table. Yeah, even the really, really rich, exclusive ones that represent Diddy's status and power. Okay. That night reminded me that we belong in every room, at every table, and in every conversation. He's constantly encouraged me and so many others to dream bigger, walk in confidence, and never shrink who we are to make others comfortable. He also gave me a voice by providing me a platform on his network to speak for the culture and connect with people in a way that was real and authentic. That opportunity changed the direction of my career and showed me the impact one person can have when they choose to uplift others. Beyond all that, I've seen him give back to his community over and over again. In 2022, we fed the homeless together on Thanksgiving, but that was just one example. There were so many moments where he gave quietly, privately, without cameras, because his heart genuinely wanted to help. I get it, but the whole we fed the homeless thing, is there no other? I mean, listen, man, you're trying to save Diddy from years and years and years. You got to come a little bit harder than like, yeah, we fed in 2022, we fed the homeless. Like, is that it? Like, you need to say, Diddy, yeah, man, in 2022, Diddy donated $20 million to an orphanage in Africa. Like, you know, you gotta find something. Like, y'all fed the homeless in 2022, and now if I'm the judge, I'm supposed to be like, oh, okay, wow, you know, that really does counteract the fact that he put hands on Cassie. Like, come on, dog. Put hands on Jane Doe or all the other people he put hands on. I don't know if that's very convincing. I'm just saying. She continues. I've also witnessed him doing real inner work. He made the choice to check himself into anger management, start therapy, commit to physical healing through therapy. That makes strength, humility, and self-awareness. He didn't do it for show. He did it because he wanted to grow and to become a better person. In my personal experience, Sean is not a danger or a threat to the community. He is a man of God, someone who uplifts, supports, and inspires those around him to be better mentally, physically, and spiritually. Man of God. Man of God, man of God, man of God. I don't know, man. I guess you got to play every card you can try to play, but I don't think the judge is going to be convinced that he's a man of God. To be honest with you, even if he was a man of God, like man of God's, man, and let's be honest, Diddy's not a man of God, right? Like, Diddy might believe in God. He might even, I don't know, he might watch a sermon or two from TD Jakes, but that's a far cry from actually being a disciple of Christ, actually being a man of God. And maybe to Carisha, because she actually has never understood or met a real man of God, maybe she thinks that Diddy's a man of God, or maybe she's just saying that in the letter to try to see if she could pull a fast one on the judge. But either way, the judge is not going to fall for it. But more than anything, he's a father. His kids are the ones who look up to him the most. They need him. His presence, love, and guidance matter deeply in their lives. Now, on the whole, his kids and family need him. If I'm the judge, I'm going, he should have thought about his kids and family before he was committing crimes, right? I think that you should be thinking about your kids and families before you commit crimes or actions that could lead to prison time. It's not for the judge to think about you being separated from your family when it's time for him to sentence you. That's not for the judge to think about. It's for you to think about not wanting to be separated from your family. And that should be one of many hindrances for you to commit actions that could help you land in prison. So she finishes, I truly believe that he belongs at home with his family, the people who mean the most to him and who continue to be his greatest source of purpose and strength. Judge, that's a good man. Thank you, Carisha Brownlee. Okay. Now, to be fair, some of this was good. Some of this was usable. Some of this I don't think is going to be effective. But to be honest with you, I genuinely don't feel like any of these letters are effective. Now, just to speak to his sentencing, I personally believe that Diddy will receive anywhere from, I think, a minimum of 3 years to I could see probably 10 years, if not more. His lawyers are asking for time served. He's definitely not getting time served. He didn't even get bail. Think about the fact that Diddy beat the most serious charges that were sent his way. The RICO charge, the sex trafficking charges, those were the most serious charges. He beat those charges and wasn't even granted bail. Now, mind you, the Abercrombie and Fitch executives have been granted bail and they face sex trafficking charges as well. So that right there tells you, again, it's a different law when you're talking about being a black man in this country, in my personal opinion. But that just goes to show you where this judge is at. The judge reasoned, I think his name is Subramanian or something like to that effect. He reasoned that because Diddy was violent and his own lawyers conceded during the trial that he was violent, he therefore is a threat to society and therefore shouldn't receive bail. Mind you, he didn't get found guilty of anything violent, but because his lawyers conceded that he had committed violent acts in the past, he shouldn't get bail. Now, what that tells me is that the judge is absolutely going to consider the violent acts, especially the one that we saw with Cassie, of him physically assaulting her in the hotel, when he gives Diddy the final judgment. And I understand people have said, well, there are certain strict sentencing guidelines and he's got to follow the guidelines. They don't have to follow anything as far as I'm concerned. He can go up to 10 years on each charge, and I feel like he will do so. The thing that I think is the biggest problem for Diddy is this is a very high profile case. It's a high profile case in New York City. And I think that they're going to want to send a message to victims everywhere that you can be violated by someone rich, famous, and important and come forward and not feel as if it's futile to come forward because you won't receive any justice, right? They're going to want to send a message to victims that, listen, you can come forward. If Diddy gets time served, it's going to send a message to victims that it doesn't matter if you get violated, especially by someone with resources like Diddy. That person is just going to hire an insane legal team and beat the charges essentially. And you'll just have put yourself out there and gone through the stress of a trial and reliving the trauma and all of that for no reason. And I don't think that the judge is going to want to send that message. I think the powers that be are probably talking to the judge, because I honestly don't think the judge is making these opinions by making a decision by himself. Maybe he is, but I don't think so. I think there are going to be a lot of people, law enforcement, whatever, is going to tell the judge, hey, you can't let this guy walk with time served. And I can tell you that's not going to happen because, again, they didn't even give him bail. So I estimate at least 3 years. If I think the judge wants to just charge him for the prostitution. But again, I personally think they are going to consider everything else. Here's the thing. I feel like the government has wanted Diddy for a very long time. I think they've wanted Diddy since the 90s, all the way back to Diddy and Bad Boy versus Suge Knight and Death Row Records. If you'll remember, in the early 2000s, he beat a gun case where, you know, supposedly he had Shine take the fall for him. And Shine has come out and said that he was basically the fall guy in that situation. Then there's been a bunch of, I mean, listen, Diddy has faced a bunch of low-key accusations. People have said that he's responsible for Tupac's murder because he put a hit out on Tupac, right? And I'm sure the government knows all these things, all the things that Diddy has been nefariously involved with. And to be honest with you, I feel like personally, they're going to pack all of that into a sentence, all of that, because this is their opportunity. They got a maximum of 20 years on the table, 10 years for each of the 2 charges that he got found guilty with. So I believe that they are going to give Diddy the max. Well, let me say it again. I believe that they are going to put some years on it. Now, I also think that the one thing that Diddy has in his favor is that they're not going to necessarily want to make it seem as if they're doing that, right? Because if they give him some crazy numbers like 15 years or something, people are going to look at that and say, okay, look, they're clearly not just sentencing him for what he got found guilty of. So I think that they're going to put some years on it, but make it seem reasonable. So I could see a 5-year sentence, right? And that Trump will probably pardon him when he's on the way out. I think that that'll probably be what ends up happening. But I want to hear your opinion in the comment section. Let me know what you think about Young Miami's letter, Diddy's sentencing, how many years you think he's going to get. Again, if you like the video, please like, subscribe. Thank you guys for listening. It's been Providence. I'll see you guys in the next video.